Right now, every screen in America is flashing with footage of missile strikes and an escalating war in Iran. But while our eyes are glued to the Middle East, the United States military just quietly made a terrifying admission. They confirmed that physical objects we cannot identify are actively stalking our nuclear sites and shadowing our astronauts. The sheer whiplash of this reality is it's honestly hard to process. On one hand, you've got May 2026 defined by a massive global energy crisis, naval warfare in the Strait of Hormuz, and terrifying geopolitical instability. And then, on the other hand, the US government suddenly decides this is the exact moment to dump 80 years of unresolved UFO data. They are abruptly ending an 8-decade smear campaign against the military pilots and civilian witnesses they used to just brush off as conspiracy theorists. The weight of this admission is staggering. We aren't just looking at the stars anymore. The newly rebranded Department of War literally just admitted the stars have been looking back at us since 1947. This isn't science fiction, it's not a late-night cable documentary. The federal government is officially acknowledging that these phenomena operate in our airspace with absolute, total impunity. And the raw scale of this data dump is completely unprecedented. 162 classified files, unsealed in a single day. We are talking about 120 PDFs, 28 videos, and 14 images released under a massive, rolling declassification order. Decades of locked-away secrets suddenly pushed right out into the public domain. Now, you might be thinking this is just a rogue leak from one single whistleblower. It's not. Look at the agencies involved here. You've got infrared military sensor footage coming from the Department of War, domestic sighting reports from the FBI spanning the 40s all the way through the 60s. We're even seeing NASA mission transcripts and Department of Energy surveillance logs tracking anomalies hovering over highly sensitive nuclear sites like Oak Ridge. It's a highly coordinated, multi-agency intelligence bypass. The goal? Give the public the raw data and let them judge for themselves. Some of the historical records they just handed us are genuinely wild. Take this transcript from the 1972 Apollo 17 mission. Astronaut Ronald Evans is up there, casually describing bright fragments drifting by, comparing them to a 4th of July display. And this comes accompanied by newly declassified photos showing 3 illuminated dots sitting in a perfect triangle on the lunar surface. For 50 years, these analog files just sat in a drawer, while ordinary people down here were ridiculed for reporting the exact same things. But we are not just talking about dusty history. The modern encounters fundamentally rewrite what we thought we knew. Fast forward to 2023. 2 federal agents reported a glowing orange orb perched near a rock pinnacle in North America. A red-orange circle with a bright yellow streak. The military's own internal files literally compared the image to the Eye of Sauron. When the Department of War includes an official artist's rendering of that in a formal intelligence tranche, it tells us the old rules of reality have been permanently deleted. So how is this radical shift in transparency actually happening? It's all moving through Pursue, the presidential unsealing and reporting system for UAP encounters. This whole initiative was born from a rare, fierce, bipartisan coalition in Congress that frankly just grew tired of the institutional secrecy. They forced a presumption of disclosure. They completely bypassed the traditional intelligence gatekeepers to centralize records that have been aggressively siloed away for generations. And where there is paradigm-shifting technology, Wall Street is already moving in. The financial sector launched the UFO Exchange Traded Fund just weeks before this declassification order hit. They are actively positioning capital right now to cash in on the second-order effects of this disclosure. We are looking at massive potential shifts: reverse engineering, next-generation aerospace propulsion, advanced materials, entirely new sectors of energy innovation. Capital markets are betting heavily on whoever unlocks this non-human technology first. Okay, but we have to pause for a second and ask the most crucial question. Why now? Why take 80 years of highly guarded military secrets and dump them onto the internet today? To understand that, we have to look at the massive geopolitical shell game playing out in the background. Track this timeline with me because it's incredibly precise. On May 3rd, the U.S. launches Project Freedom in the Strait of Hormuz. May 4th, the military destroys 6 Iranian boats and intercepts incoming missiles. By May 7th, Central Command is actively striking Iranian military facilities. It is a dizzying, violent week of escalation. And then, right on cue, on May 8th, 162 UAP records are unsealed, completely taking over the domestic news cycle overnight. The split screen here is completely jarring. Critics across the political spectrum are raising massive red flags. On the ground, Americans are dealing with the gritty, painful reality of inflation, paying over $4.50 a gallon for gas in the middle of a global energy crisis. And yet, the public is suddenly absolutely mesmerized by unresolved infrared videos of pill-shaped flying objects. The political critique here is sharp. Is this monumental disclosure actually highly timed, shiny object propaganda, designed purely to distract us from the real-world costs of war? Now, whether you think it's a distraction or not, the psychological weight of this data dump is entirely real. Experts call it ontological shock. It's that profound disorientation that hits you when your basic framework for reality just shatters. For 80 years, we assumed humanity sat at the absolute pinnacle of technological achievement. Now, the government is handing us raw sensor data and forcing us to face the terrifying possibility that our most advanced military tech might be completely obsolete. By releasing all this raw data without any definitive explanations, the government has basically triggered a fractured reality. Skeptics look at the footage and they see thermal blooms from jet engines or camera lens diffraction. Believers look at the exact same video and see misshapen balls of light pulling impossible maneuvers. Without context, the data just ensures society fractures into deep echo chambers. Everyone is using the exact same military footage to reach completely opposite conclusions. So where does this all lead? Well, within 30 days, the next Pure Sue tranche drops. Word is that's going to include the highly anticipated spherical UAP videos. That drop is going to trigger an immediate surge in Wall Street speculation around defense contractors suspected of holding recovered materials. Between upcoming blockbuster films and ongoing monthly data dumps, UAP hunting is about to permanently shift from a highly stigmatized topic into a mainstream digital obsession. Which brings us right back to the ultimate question of this entire saga. Is the government finally being forced into honest disclosure about non-human intelligence? Or is this data dump just the ultimate shiny object, designed to keep us from looking at the body bags and the price tags of the war in Iran? I want to know exactly what you think. Tell me your specific prediction in the comments. What is really driving this timing, and what do you think is hiding in the next batch of files?
An investment in knowledge pays the best interest, so why not invest in this channel? Click like and subscribe for more.